Greetings, travelers, and welcome to Tales of Adventure, the show where Dungeons and Dragons, improv, and storytelling join together in a ragtag band of misfits on a quest to fight evil. Since the dawn of time, people have gathered together to tell tales of heroes, villains, and worlds of fantasy. Since approximately 1974, nerds in basements have used complicated systems of rules and dice rolling to help them tell these tales. Tonight, I, a nerd who has made up a complicated system of rules and dice rolling, will help to tell the tale of an adventure that has yet to begin. In a new world full of strange wonders, treasures, and horrors. But lest we get too far ahead of ourselves, who are the heroes of this tale, our main characters, our ragtag band of misfits on a quest not to fight evil, but to enrich themselves? They are Marcus LaVelle, Human Knight.
Hello, everyone. My name's Marcus. As you could see right there, that's exactly what I look like. That's my horse, Rupert. He's been with me for quite a while now. Member of the famous LaVelle family and the founder of LaVelle's Archeological Acquisitions Limited, of which the rest of my colleagues have joined me for hopefully what is going to be some very heroic adventures. Yes.
Calmac Fingol, dwarf fighter.
All right, yeah, that's me. Calmac, I'm a dwarf. I'm a smith by trade, fighter by, fun? Yeah, yeah. So I come down from the mountains. Obviously, I'm looking to expand my smithing, get some experience, hopefully find some interesting items, smith some interesting items, hit some people with the interesting items to test how good they are at hitting.
Rug, human wizard.
Hello. Oh, sorry, I had something in my throat. Hello. My name is Rug, and it's actually pronounced Ruge, or please don't call me Rug. It's a very embarrassing story. Well, I'm a garden wizard, and it is an absolute delight to be here, getting some work experience, learning all I can about all things green, and quite frankly, I'm just so excited. I got a first in my my gardening wizardry degree. I'm hoping that'll come in handy. Very excited.
And last but by no means least, played by Caitlin Campbell on maternity cover for Alice Taylor Matthews, it's Rúna Ironclaw, werewolf barbarian.
Hello, I'm Rúna Ironclaw, and I am a werewolf. I'm a long way from home, and this is my first time leaving the pack. I've come and joined the party to seek my fortune, which I'm pretty sure is going to look like a horse, because I love horses. So far, I find the outside world to be full of exciting smells.
And I, of course, am the Dungeon Master, the nerd who wrote the rules for the game that we are playing. I kid you not, I have written an entire system of rules because we played Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for 12 seasons, and I found it to be just very slightly different from what you need to fit an entire Dungeons & Dragons session into approximately an hour and 45 minutes. So there's been some changes. There'll be sidebars and digressions throughout where I'll explain what's going on if we fuck anything up. But don't worry, it should just make sense and be hilarious as always. Tonight's adventure is the Howling Pit. Our heroes find themselves traveling in the land of Pelvain. Pelvain, land of rolling hills and mist-shrouded forests, where noble houses of knights, lady knights, all who carry on in the fine martial tradition of the Lady of the Lake, who, rather than giving her sword to some king, came out of the lake herself and kicked some butt. There are monsters and horrors that lurk within the hills and forests of Pelvain, and yet still there are ruins where treasure may lurk from the long-forgotten days of the elven occupation. LaVelle's Archeological Acquisitions, Inc. has travelled to a forest nearby the village of Flapjack, where there are rumours that treasure can be found in a hole in the ground. Just 2 days ago, a young shepherd staggered into town, half madly babbling of the ground collapsing beneath him and his flock, and clutching a handful of golden coins. Word spread pretty fast, as you can imagine. Rumours of this supposed underground treasure hoard reached our hero's ears, and soon they mounted an expedition to what the locals have dubbed the Howling Pit. You've been traveling for about a day now. It's not too far from the village of Flapjack that the hole is to be located, and at long last, as the sun reaches its zenith above you, it's about midday, you come to the edge of the forest, where there is indeed a yawning hole in the earth, where the ground has collapsed below and yields into what you can only describe as a big dark hole. In the distance, perhaps 800 yards away or so, the ruins of an elven watchtower sit on a hill that overlooks the forest. It's quite pleasant. The sun is shining, the birds are singing in the trees, and the travel has been pleasant and agreeable so far. What are you doing?
Yes, well, this is exactly like I expected adventure to be quite honest. Of all of the books that I've read, and I've read a lot of books on adventuring, I was, you know, it's a lovely day, lovely people, ruins everywhere, and the potential for gold. I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far.
I've not done a great deal of book reading, but Marcus, I'm going to agree with you actually there. It's just really lovely day.
Yes, it's quite lovely, and I would really recommend many books on adventuring, because the best way to learn is through theory first. So I'm a great advocate, and I'd love to get those titles off you, Marcus. That would be a treat.
Oh, of course. Was it Ruge?
It's pronounced Ruag.
Ruag.
Ruge. Yes.
Right. Okay. That clears things up marvelously. Thank you.
Yes.
I might be missing something, but I think that you're making different sounds every single time.
No. It is Ruag.
Rogue.
Yes. It is.
Oh, well, that's a marvelous name. I don't think I've heard anything like that before. Ruag. Where's it hail from?
Okay. Well, you must promise you won't laugh.
Is it funny?
Difficult to promise, really.
Well, most of my villagers have quite exciting names, like Ruag and Howling, and very exciting names. But
yes, marvelous.
When I was a baby, my parents saw me rolling on a soft rug, and they thought, what a good name that'll be for our newest child. And it's very embarrassing, and I really, when we meet new people, will you help me, form a new identity, a new name? I find it ever so embarrassing.
So your new identity, moving on from Rug, is Ruag.
Yes.
You said no. It's a big jump. It's a big step.
Yes.
To Ruag.
Ruag.
Good.
I'm hoping we can tell people it's short for Raugilda, which I think sounds lovely. So yes, it's Rug though.
Okay. Well, yes, and are you settled on Ruag, or are you hoping to find something else?
I mean, if I find a true name, there's something that I really feel suits me. I will jump at the chance. Yes.
Excellent. Yes, indeed.
I've wandered off halfway
oh.
through this conversation and I'm sort of sniffing a tree.
Okay, the trees are kind of like spruce or fir. They're reasonably familiar to you. They're a bit like the trees from back home down south. This one's quite a good tree. It's good height. It's got a good girth to it. You could climb up this tree and you'd be able to be quite at home up there. It'd be nice. It's a good tree. 8 out of 10.
I'm going to climb the 8 out of 10 tree and just have a look around.
Okay. So it's an 8 out of 10 tree, but in terms of actual vantage points, it's maybe not the best in the world. Okay. You can't see, it's not really taller than the other trees in the forest, but you can get a decent view of the surroundings, which is pretty much as described. The grassy plain, because the forest ends around here at the side of the pit, stretches away off to the south and the west. So the northwest, you can see the tower. You can't see much more of the tower because the tower is much taller than a tree. You have got a slightly better angle down into the pit, though. It's too dark in there for you to see very much. But as you peer down, you can make out that it doesn't look too deep. Maybe 9 meters or so. And it is at this point, as you peer downwards into the pit, that the air, otherwise filled only with the pleasant sounds of conversations about how to pronounce someone's name, is filled with an eerie moaning howl. It sounds a bit like this. Except with reverb.
I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it.
Do we all hear this?
Yes, it's not like a phantom noise or anything. It is a howl that people can hear with normal ears.
And do we recognize it? Is it something that?
When you say, "Do you recognize it?" What exactly?
Yeah. As in, like, is it obviously like an animal that we would know? Like, is it the howl of a wolf? Is it something very specific, or is it?
It is not the howl of a wolf.
Okay.
Well, can I howl back just to see?
Okay, go on. Howl for me. Oh! It's not a wolf sound.
It sounds like somebody's in pain.
But it did reply to me. Did howl back.
Yes. Is it coming from the Runa? Is it coming from the hole?
Yes, I think so.
Excellent. Shall we tally ho?
What?
Do we what?
Tally ho.
Who's she?
I'd like to put forward an observation, and I'm just gonna go a bit closer to the hole, have a little holler down the hole. Hello, have you fallen down the hole?
Being closer to the edge of the hole, Calmac, you can hear also just faintly the sounds of thudding and scraping.
All right, it wasn't clear. It wasn't a clear yes or a clear no. Thudding and moaning.
I think we should talk to the tree. I'm going to go over to the fir tree, or was it a spruce tree that Runa has climbed?
It's a spruce. You know the difference between a fir and a spruce.
The spruce tree. I'm going to walk up to the spruce tree and just cast dendrography. First lesson was pronunciation, and I'm going to cast dendrography to ask. What do you know about this pit?
So, for the first time in the new rule system, which, for the benefit of the audience, is called the Tales of Adventure System for Tabletop, or TOAST for short. Spells are being cast. Spells don't work quite the same in Toast as they do in Dungeons and Dragons. They are fueled by magic dice, which every wizard has a reserve of. Being a first level wizard, Rug only has one magic dice to invest in her spell, but you could invest more sometimes. Please, Rug, roll your magic dice, which is a d6, and tell me what you get.
6.
6. Fantastic. Your spell flicks out of your brain and into the tree with a flash of green magical energy. It's taken a very strong effect, but because you rolled a 6, your magic dice will not return, and you cannot use it again. You are out of spells for the day. You may ask this tree one question. What is the question?
Tree, I must ask you a question. Thank you, first of all, for being here today. What do we need, guys? What do we need to know about the pit? we want to know if there's something living in there, don't we? We want to know if it's dangerous.
Well, yes, well, maybe potentially what we would find down there?
Yes, because the tree will have seen things coming and going.
Indeed.
Maybe I should ask it if it's seen any strange things coming and going into the pit. Yes, I thought I'd consult with the team. Good work, team. I shall... Tree. Spruce tree. Can I call you Sprucey? We want to know...
Does appear on the trunk of the tree.
Shit.
Yes, you may call me Sprucey. That doesn't count as a question. I'm just messing with
you. Do you know what we can expect to find within this pit?
The tree pauses and its branches shake just for a moment in a slightly pensive kind of a way. And the glowing letters fade away and reappear, but this time they spell the message, dunno. Probably a sheep.
Okay, I must... I've got good news and I've got bad news.
It's
good news.
Writing, comma, maybe elves.
Okay, everybody, so the tree was very helpful, thank you, Sprucey, and there may be elves or maybe a sheep in the pit, but elves, I mean, they might not like to see you, Marcus, as your family overthrew them, but they're not too hostile, I shouldn't think.
Yes, well, yeah, maybe I sort of hide the old Cresty Prue away from them. Yes. Well, I guess it, you know, the obvious question then is whether or not we go down. Obviously.
Well, I mean, we can't talk to the tree anymore, so.
Well, yeah, happy to take a vote of what people think is the appropriate course of action. Obviously.
Well, so how easy does the hole look like to climb down? We're going to need to tie a rope to the tree. Can we scramble down the side? Are we talking shit like a well? Are we?
It looks pretty easy to climb down. It's a sinkhole, so it looks as though there's like a cavity below that's fallen down and the soil's just all run down into the ground. So the sides are fairly shallow, but they are loose soil. You could probably like slide down or scramble down. As long as you aren't terrifically concerned with looking stylish while you do it, it would be quite easy to get down safely.
I've never done anything stylish in my life. Pretty dark at the bottom.
Yeah, very dark at the bottom, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say I think we should maybe get some torches.
Excellent idea.
I happen to have a lantern right here that I could use myself. Yes, happy to take up the old rear with the lantern.
So yeah, I'm gonna torch. I'm gonna start the descent down into the hole.
Yes, I'm going to tie Rupert up to the tree, leave sort of camping things around there on the old pack, and then light the lantern and sort of look down the hole, see how Calmac's getting on, and then potentially follow.
I'm going to jump down onto Rupert, out of the tree onto Rupert, and just gently whisper in his ear, "I love you. We'll be back soon." And then jump off and follow them.
Rupert says, you interpret as a positive sign. But that's all on you. He's not communicating with you. You can't speak horse.
Can I?
In the hole, Calmac, you're able to scramble down pretty easily. It's touch and go at a couple of moments. You think you might nearly drop your torch, but you don't. It's fine. There's no real risk in this situation. Sidebar, one of the key aspects of Toast is that if there's no risk involved in the situation, don't make the characters roll. Roll as few dice as you possibly can, because it's quicker. At the bottom of the hole, you find yourself emerging through the hole in a ceiling of a large stone chamber, about 6 meters by 9, but it's mostly filled with loose soil, rocks, earth, and a few unfortunate plants that were caught in the sinkhole that descended in. Ahead of you, you can see the remains of a wooden door in an archway lit by the flickering light of your torch. Clearly, the wooden door was burst open by the earth as it fell through the hole. Here and there are a few chunks of larger rubble. There are obviously the remnants of the ceiling which collapsed.
It looked like there's just that one door out of the room.
So there is only one wall of the room that is properly emerged from the soil. The other 3 are partially or completely buried under earth. There might be more doors there. To find out, you would need to do a lot of digging.
Okay. Didn't bring a spade, did I?
I'll run up to the door
so I'm-
and kind of like sniffing it out and having a look and kind of checking it out.
The door, you say?
Yeah.
Okay, the door is burst open in pieces on the floor. You're not carrying a torch though, so you can't see too much of the room beyond, but you can see that there is what looks like a big hole in the floor, about 6 meters in.
There's a big hole in the floor, about 6 meters in.
Another one.
Holes within holes. Oh, right. So have we all made it safely down into the room, into the sinkhole?
Yeah, there's no roll required. It's not difficult to climb down.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I think we should proceed with caution because apparently there's a big hole about 6 in. So,
Well, indeed, yes. In
Yes.
for a copper, in for a gold, I say.
I think
with
that's
caution,
okay. So we're
let's
going to.
proceed.
Oh, hello.
We have some lag.
I was having some lag.
Oh,
We're just buffering the next chamber of the dungeon, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Passing through the burst open doorway into the next chamber, the lantern and torchlight fills it, and you can see that it is in fact a very large octagonal chamber, in the center of which is a large circular, not hole, but shaft. This is an artificial hole in the floor that descends down into darkness. To your left, that's the north, and to your right, that's the south. There are doors in opposite walls made of sturdy wood. From the northern door, you can hear faintly the sounds of scratching and thudding against the wood. On the far side of the room, rather than a stone wall, there is in fact a very wide archway which opens into a corridor which extends beyond the light of your torches. Around you, on the walls and on the ceiling, there are murals, intricately painted with fine artistic style in a variety of colors. They depict cloaked figures throwing things, various items, mostly gold though, into the central pit of the room.
What interesting markings. I've never seen the likes of this. I wonder what civilization drew these. They seem to all be throwing... Oh, no, after you. Calmac.
I was going to ask, the cloaked figures on the walls, do any of them have their faces depicted?
No, none of them have their faces depicted. In fact, in situations on the murals where they are full facing the viewer, as it were, their faces are not depicted and are just blank, dark ovals.
Right. Dodgy. 100% dodgy.
Would any of this ring any bells from my many nights of sitting on the fire? Next to the fire, not in it.
Marcus LaVelle does have the history skill. In Toast, there are very many fewer skills, but at the same time, very many skills, because you can make up your own skills. You very rarely need to make a roll because of your skills, but you can quite often use them to just know things or be able to do things that other people can't. Because Marcus has the history skill, he knows about history. In this situation, Marcus, you know that, presumably given that there's an elven tower nearby, you might make an educated guess that these ruins are elven in nature. You don't know too much about the specifics because you don't have the religion skill, but you are aware that the elves had strange gods of their own. Maybe
gods.
Some sort of temple?
Oh.
Dodgy temple.
Well, I relay this to my colleagues.
As you speak to your colleagues, and indeed, whenever you make any noise, there comes a faint moaning from the door to the north.
Is that one where we also heard scuffles and thuds?
Yes.
I'm quite a fan of scuffles and thuds. I'm going to get closer to the door and see if I can hear anything in more detail through it.
You can hear much louder scuffles and thuds.
I love scuffles and thuds.
If you had to make a bet on it, you would say that probably there are maybe a couple of things in there making scuffles and thuds. It's hard to tell. They aren't banging and scratching at the door. So they seem to be somewhere inside what's on the chamber on the other side. Assuming it's a chamber. Maybe it's a corridor.
Sound like fun, friendly scuffles and thuds?
Like somebody having a bit of a fun scuffle.
Tumble.
Like a really small party.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot more like someone trying to open their front door if they were nearly catatonically drunk, didn't have a key, and had very poor manual dexterity.
We've all been there.
Well, I grew up in a cave, so that isn't super familiar to me.
Do we think it's worth trying to communicate with this sound?
Or just saying, do we get the drop on them?
Well, yes, all very good points. You know, yes. Well, what do you think?
Can we look down the hole?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe assess the rest of the situation where it's not where noises aren't happening potentially.
Yeah.
Just to begin with, obviously, very and we probably will check the other thing out, but
Edging forward on my stomach and looking down the hole.
I will raise the lantern over just to see if there's anything.
Edging forwards on your stomach and looking down the hole as Marcus leans over with his lantern, you can see that the sides are of smooth, sheer stone. You would struggle to climb down this without slipping and falling. The pit is deep, deeper than the light of Marcus's lantern will extend, which is about 6 meters or so, or if you prefer the Imperial system, 20 feet. Below that, you have no idea because it is just inky darkness. Although, maybe you can hear the faint sounds of water?
Well,
Maybe.
well.
Hey. I turn around and high five you. It's like the level of wordplay that I get.
Can't do that.
Well, yes, I guess that's sort of that, really, isn't it? Do I see any rubble anywhere around that I can just pick up and throw down and see if I can hear a plop?
There is absolutely no shortage of rubble in the chamber you've just left. You could easily find a fist-sized chunk and throw it down the shaft. You throw it down, and then a short while later, there is a splash.
Indeed, a well, I do believe. Anything through the anything from the other doors or through the archway?
I will go look through the archway. I won't. I'm going to walk over towards the archway. I'm going to light my own torch. I haven't got one yet, and I'm going to peer through the archway.
So peering through the archway, you can see that this broad corridor extends, again, a good distance, maybe 12 meters or so, before it looks like it opens out into another chamber. Unless you're willing to stray away from your comrades, you can't see any more from where you are.
Well, this corridor looks fairly. I can't really see much at this point. I don't think going down the hole is our. I didn't think that's what we were thinking, but just to say it, just to be clear, do we want to go through, maybe avoiding the scuffles and thuds and the hole, and maybe go through the corridor?
I don't know. I feel like I want to address the scuffles and thuds. I'm not fond of having scuffles once we go in deeper.
Okay. What does the rest of the group think?
If you don't catch up with scuffles and thuds, they'll catch up with you.
Runa, I like your thinking.
Well, yes, quite. Okay then.
Okay. I'm gonna get me fighting hammer out in one hand.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Keep my torch in the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put my lantern down so that it sort of lights the way around us a little bit. I'll get the sword and the shield out, and I'll put the whistle in my mouth.
Yes. I'm going to grip my wizarding staff with both hands and stand with the sturdiest that I can, but I'm shaking quite a bit.
Oh,
I've got an axe.
You do. You certainly do.
On three, I'm gonna fling open the door.
Okay.
Which way is the door open? Is door open my way or the scuffles way?
You're not sure. You can't see any hinges, so presumably the other way.
Okay. All right. On three.
Good luck.
1, 2, 3.
Which?
There's a thud as Calmac body slams the door and finds out that it's quite firmly stuck.
Oh.
It's actually firmly, yeah. It's. I'm gonna have to.
Oh.
I'm just gonna kind of give it a shoulder, like a driven shoulder barge. I'm gonna commit now. I mean, I've made a large thud. Yeah.
It's fairly easy to smash the door down with a little bit of effort. However, that does mean that there's no chance of you having the element of surprise, as finally the wooden door gives way and you reveal in the light of your lanterns and your torch that in the chamber beyond, which is 6 meters by 9 meters, about the size of the chamber that the sinkhole led you through into, 2 zombies stand in the back right corner, scratching and clawing against the wall, or at least they were, because now, with your presence announced by the labor and noise it took to batter down the door, they turn their rotting, decayed heads towards you, and with a mournful moan, they stumble forwards to attack. It's time for everyone to roll initiative. Hooray! Initiative still exists in Toast, except instead of rolling anything and adding the dice, you will make a wisdom test.
Oh.
In Toast, here's our sidebar. To make a test against an attribute, you roll 1d20 and you succeed if you roll underneath your attribute. Nice and simple. Make your rolls and tell me what you get.
I got a 3.
I rolled a 9.
That's 2 successes.
I got a 12, which is not.
Not good.
And 11 for me.
Your wisdom Calmac is 9, so you will be going after the zombies. So everyone who passed their wisdom tests, that's Marcus and Runa, will be going first. You can go in any order you like. Then the zombies will go. Then Rug and Calmac can go in any order that they like.
Okay.
Marcus and the zombies are on the far side of the room, separating you and them. The floor is littered with bits of detritus, debris, and litter of all kinds. You haven't the time to stop and sift through it now, but just at a glance, you can see that there are such things as the shattered remains of a 3-necked banjo.
Still fresh.
What, do you play the banjo, Marcus?
What looks to be a pile of lovely granola.
One of my favorite stories that I read as a child. There was a marvelous hero in there who his 3-necked banjo got destroyed.
Oh.
Very brave.
A pack of Tim Tams, which is surprisingly topical. What are you doing, Marcus and or Runa? What's your plan?
Well, I sort of look over to Runa and sort of nod. Say, for glory?
Yes, jolly good. So I'm a little bit put off by the fact that they're zombies. I'd heard scuffles and thuds and hoped that it might be just other wolves who are down here. So I'm going to come in through the doorway and come to the side, and it will take me another go to get a bow out, won't it? So I think I've got the axe, and I'm going to start coming towards one of the zombies. And if it gets close enough, I'm going to take a swing at the head.
Okay, it certainly will get close enough. It's advancing on you even now. Make an attack roll for me. Your attack is 11, so you're looking to get 11 or less on a D20.
It's a 20.
A 20?
It's a 20.
Oh, that's a dreadful miss. A natural 20 in Toast is no critical success, although it isn't a critical fail. I don't like critical fails, no such thing. A 20 is just a miss. The zombie sways and lurches as it approaches you. It moves like no living thing ought to, and that throws you off your rhythm, and your swing with your large axe goes wide, and it lurches closer to you. Marcus, what are you doing?
Well, seeing Runa bravely wander over, I'm also going to charge as well. Shield up first, and sword there, and then swipe as much as I can and hide behind the shield.
Okay, slightly less bravely than Runa. Marcus leaps into action. Make an attack roll for me.
I'm also going to be blowing my whistle all the time. I got an 11.
That is a critical hit.
Tally-ho!
Okay.
With a critical hit, does it do any difference to the damage?
You may choose on a critical hit between doing a combat maneuver for free. That's like shove someone over, trip them up, disarm someone, etc., etc. Or you can double your damage. Which would you prefer?
I think, well, seeing as this is the first one, I think I'm going to double my damage. I rolled a 2, so I'd like to double that to 4, please.
Okie doke. Zombie number 2 takes 4 damage. Your blade sinks into its mouldering flesh, but it seems to not really care too much about that because it's dead already. It lurches further towards you, sinking the sword deeper into the meat, well, the rotten meat of its shoulder, and it swings its grisly claws at you. Please roll your defense. Brief time. In Toast, rather than having the monsters roll to attack, the players roll to defense. Because, you know, it lets them do more things. What was that, Steve?
13.
13. A 13 is exactly on the money. That's a critical defense. You
Yeah.
clearly got it.
I'm looking
so-
at you like, wow, he's everything he said he'd be, and more.
A critical success means that not only do you succeed in defending yourself, you take no damage, but also you forced your opponent to overextend. You jump backwards and using your shield, you maneuver the zombie so that it's off balance. You'll gain advantage on your next attack against that zombie. Runa, the one that you swung your axe at, is also advancing on you, backing you into a corner until you've got no choice but to face its grasping hands and leering jaw. Roll defense.
I got 20 again.
Oh.
20 again.
Yeah.
Is some kind of curse going on here? Because one of you has got nothing but 20s and the other one has got nothing but criticals.
Yes, I think that's definitely what's happening.
I'm being asked to prove my rolls in chat, so I'm going to dice cam it next time.
Okay, so Runa, a failure on your defense roll means that the enemy's blow strikes true and you take normal damage, which in this case isn't that bad because zombies aren't that rough. It's a d6 of damage, which is 2. You take 2 damage and are left with 9 hit points. A brief
feel
digression.
I've never seen a zombie before or really anything undead, and so I'm just really wigging out at the moment. I think that's what's going on. I'm like, forgetting all my training.
In Toast, hit points are not the damage that represents how much you can be stabbed before you die. They represent your resolve, your will to fight, and your energy that are slowly worn down. When you reach 0 hit points, you haven't been injured yet, but you probably are about to be. So you have not been injured by the zombie, Runa, but it has backed you into the corner and you are struggling as it presses against your guard, and you are going to be in trouble unless some help arrives soon.
Oh, no.
Fortunately, help arrives now. Rug, Calmac, what are you doing?
Ruge, do you want to take it away?
Yes. How close is Rug to is she close to a zombie?
You are still outside the chamber door.
Okay.
The zombies, one has Runa backed into a corner. The other one is slightly further into the chamber, and Marcus seems to be doing brilliantly well against it. He certainly looks fucking stylish.
Okay. I'm going to run over to the zombie that's got Runa backed into a corner, and with wielding my stick with both hands, I'm going to try and make an attack on the zombie. I'm going to try and barrel on the back of the head, bash with my great staff.
Okay, swing your staff. That is an attack roll, and you are looking for 12 or less. As reported, Rug has a special bonus to attacks made with a wooden staff.
I got an 18.
Alas. This zombie is proving too difficult for you to find any solid blows on. Perhaps it's too hard to do any serious damage to something that's already dead with a blunt instrument, but you rain blows down upon the thing to little effect. It doesn't seem to be affected.
I'm sorry,
Calmac,
Runa.
what are you doing?
I'm gonna. I'm dropping my torch where I am, so I'm kind of just in the way. and I'm gonna do a cool kind of like commando roll and do a double hand like swipe through, hopefully aiming through the kneecaps of the zombie that's harassing Runa. Try and
Doke. I won't make you roll for a combat roll. I won't make you roll for a combat roll maneuver. James Matthews in the comments says, "Is Rug doing the pool cue fight scene from Shaun of the Dead?" And the answer is yes.
Singing
Yes.
"Don't Stop Me Now" in my head, definitely. Yeah.
Calmac, you get to make 2 attacks per round as a fighter, so roll your attack twice.
first one's a 5.
Nice.
Second one's a 3.
That's 2 solid hits. Roll your damage for me. You're wielding it with 2 hands, so that's 1d8 twice.
Right, okay. 8. We're gonna have to start a voice cam, aren't we? And a 4.
8 and a 4 is a total of 12. These zombies have 10 hit points each. So with a mighty swing of your hammer to its kneecap, you completely smash it to mush, which drops the thing to the floor. And then with a second blow, you crush its skull, and its struggles cease. The zombie is no more, and Runa is in no danger at all. However, back at the top of the next round, Marcus, you're facing off against this zombie. It's mano a corpso.
My favorite odds. I'm going to strike at this rapscallion again.
Your attack this round has advantage because you rolled a critical on your defense last round. Advantage
That's good.
the same way as it does in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Roll twice and take the roll that you prefer.
So that's good because I rolled a 15 on my first one. And then a 6. I got a 6 on my second one.
A 6 is a solid hit. Roll your damage as your sword sinks into its flesh once more.
5.
5. Oof. With a broad cut, you very nearly behead the thing. Its skull topples from its shoulders and hangs from one string of sinew as it dangles on its chest. However, its eyes are still fixed on you, and its jaws still clamp in anticipation of biting into your tender, noble flesh.
Oh dear Lord.
Roll your defense because it's coming at you like a angry zombie, which is what it is.
Save me all of the Pantheon. Oh, 17. Oh dear.
That is a miss. The zombie deals its damage to you, which is d6, which is not...
My hair!
So it's rolled a 2. Luckily for you, you are wearing medium armor. Medium armor reduces incoming damage by 2 to a minimum of 1. So you only take 1 damage. Its claws skitter off of your fine mail armor, and you are unharmed and only a little bit shaken up by the prospect of this thing eating you. Rug, sorry, no, that's not right. I missed out Runa. Runa, what are you doing?
Am I close enough to take a swing at the one fighting Marcus and finish it off?
You are, so in a combat round, you can move a short distance as well as make attacks. So yeah, you're well close enough to take a swing at that one. It's only got 1 hit point left. Any hit will defeat it now.
Well, I'm taking a deep breath and getting back in there.
I've got my fingers crossed for you, which sounds
With a
sarcastic.
6!
Fucking nailed it. Describe
Yeah.
how you slay the thing.
I come up behind him and with an almighty swing round the back, I cleave its head in 2, down the middle, like this.
Nice.
One of its half of its mouth goes as it sort of splinters away.
Indeed it does. With a final wet thump as the corpse of the final zombie lands on the floor. Silence once again fills the darkened chamber, lit only by the flicker of torch and lamplight from where the light sources were discarded on the floor. You're breathing heavily, but nobody is seriously hurt. That could have been a lot worse than it was. What other dangers lurk within this strange underground temple complex? Will you find anything valuable down here, or is it just dangerous shit? Will you remember that you should probably search rooms to see if there are valuable things in there, as well as just the obvious stuff? Find out after the break in the second part of Tales of Adventure, The Howling Pit. Welcome, travelers, to the second part of Tales of Adventure, the Howling Pit. Our heroes have descended into a sinkhole that has opened up in the earth nearby the village of Flapjack, and in that hole they have found another hole, but also some zombies, which they fought and slew in an epic, but not particularly epic, combat. The fight is over, and the slain bodies of your enemies lie at your feet. You're slightly shaken up. Marcus has taken 1 hit point of damage, and Rúna has taken 2. Neither of you have actually suffered a scratch, but you're feeling a little bit shaken. Only a little, though. You stand in the chamber that you fought the zombies in. Debris and litter covers the floor, the remnants of boxes, chests, barrels, some rotted away to nothing, some broken open with age. I'll just give you a brief reminder. When you entered this chamber, the zombies that you slew were scratching at a part of the wall in the back right corner. What are you doing?
Firstly, well done, everyone. Can I just say that was magnificent.
Should we do a little hands in? Way.
Oh, yes, that sounds lovely.
Yes, well, yes, that's what adventure people do, isn't it? What shall we say?
What about let's do it well.
With LaVelle.
Yes.
Oh, rhyming, marvelous. Let's do it well with a LaVelle.
Marcus, why aren't you touching our hands? Do you not like touching other people's hands?
Yeah,
what?
I'm in it. No. You're hovering. You're hovering, mate. You're hovering.
What?
There's a little. Yeah.
There's a
On
layer.
3 then. 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
2. Let's do it well.
Let's do it well with LaVelle.
Oh.
Nailed it.
Lovely.
I'm going to go over to that section of the wall and just sniff it and pour it a little bit.
I'd like to retrieve my lantern and illuminate the area and have a look around the room, see if there's any. I mean, with the LaVelle's Archeological Acquisition Limited, we've got to acquire.
Did you just take out the business card and read that off it just quickly there?
The LaVelle's Archeological Acquisitions Limited. Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab the torch dropped on the floor and have a look around and see if there's anything good as well.
Yes,
This seems time as any to talk about time spent in dungeon crawling. We're all very familiar from 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons with the concept of time being broken down into turns and rounds in combat. In Toast, the same is true of exploration in a dungeon, except instead of about 6 seconds, an exploration turn lasts 10 minutes. So far in the dungeon, you have spent 10 minutes exploring these first 3 chambers and fighting the zombies. The actions you choose to do next, providing that they're, proper actions, may fill up the next turn of adventuring exploration time. Rug, I interrupted before you said what you were going to do, and that's very rude, and I apologise.
Well, I might have interrupted you, who knows. Well, I'm going to look around and also look for anything that looks magical, because that really is my area of expertise. While I would like some silver, because I do have to pay off my student loan.
I feel you. I really do feel you.
800 silver pieces a month. Don't find themselves.
Oh yeah, you haven't told the audience about your wizard student loans yet. Would you care to explain while I look up something in the room?
Well, yes. Well, I went to Grinberg Hut, the garden wizard school in the Grinberg forest, and I had a lovely time learning all things green and magical, gardening mostly, and now I'm in 400,000 silver pieces of debt, and every month I have to send 800 silver pieces to the school, otherwise they will come looking for me. which is, I'm sure, a delightful prospect, but I hope to avoid it. Is that enough time?
That is plenty enough time, thank you. You've vamped magnificently to cover me looking at what I needed to look up. So, Calmac and Rug, you examine the room. This room looks as though it is presumably some kind of storeroom, because there's things that look as though they were stored here, and there doesn't seem to be anything much else. It's plain stone, although very finely worked. These elves, they know their stone. And you find all manner of strange things on the floor. Not as well as the remnants of a 3-necked banjo smashed to pieces. You also find a banjo, but this one's intact. You find what looks as though it was once a sourdough starter in sort of like a wooden bowl. However, given that about 700 odd years have passed since the Elven occupation ended, violently, by the way, this sourdough starter has expanded and grown until it fills the entire back left corner of the room. You're not entirely sure, but you think it might have developed a civilization of sorts.
Fascinating.
You find what would have been a bowl of perfectly ripe grapes 748 years ago, but is now a very small grapevine.
Ooh.
Rug, that's particularly interesting to you because underground with no light source, a grape should not have been able to germinate.
Yes, I'm very interested in this grape. I'm going to have a little look and a little smell, and maybe a little lick.
You find 2 cups of flour and an egg. You find 2 VIP tickets to the Jousting League Grand Final 748 years ago.
Collector's editions, eh?
You find a yearly subscription to Shadows and Silhouettes magazine, which expired 747 years ago. You find a soft cheese triangle, which is still perfectly edible.
Interesting.
That's going in the backpack.
Like the end of Richie Rich.
Huh?
Where's the treasure?
In Richie Rich, the treasure is not a Dairy triangle.
No,
Other
it's like
cheeses
crowns
available.
and stuff. Isn't it?
Yeah,
I
no,
watched
it's
that
the
film when I was
treasure is
8 years
family.
old.
This is not a the treasure is family situation. So
Well-
you find a lot of things that look as though they could have been suggested at random by the audience of an improvised Dungeons and Dragons show. We'll fill in some more later, don't worry.
I'm going to pocket the cheese, obviously, and then go and join Ruge.
Yes, I'm going to have the grapevine that shouldn't be growing underground. That looks very fascinating.
Okay, Rug, you want to note that down on your character sheet as cave vine.
Cave vine. Great. Cave vine.
Calmac, the cheese is just a Dairy triangle. You can call it that.
Yes, this is
Runa,
Belle.
in the meantime, whilst Calmac and Rug have been sorting through the detritus of this chamber behind you, you've been examining the wall where the zombies were clawing and scratching at it. And after a little bit of examination, sniffing doesn't tell you much apart from the zombies were scratching at it, which is, stinky. You find that where they've scratched away at the stone, they've managed to claw away in a road. And you can tell that it looks as though part of this wall is not solid blocks of stone like the rest of the chamber. It looks as though there is a stone panel here that might be a secret door.
I'm going to start feeling for the edge of it.
Yep. Well, you can find the edge of it. That's easy enough.
I'm going to start knocking at it.
The knocking makes a hollow sound, which confirms your suspicions that this is a secret door.
Can I find out anything else about it, like markings or?
There are no markings on it. This door is just plain unadorned stone. If there were markings on it, it wouldn't really be a secret door.
Well, then I'm going to go, there's a secret door over there, and lose interest and wander off and start picking through the crap as well.
Okay.
Upon hearing Runa say, "Oh, secret door there," I'm wandering off. That piqued my interest, and I kind of like, what do you mean secret door? Like, oh, all right, and start kind of prodding and poking and probing across the interesting looking bit of square of stone.
Well, it doesn't take long for you to confirm Runa's information that it is indeed a secret door. But you can't see how to open it.
Gonna search around like the rest of the wall, kind of follow the walls around the room. Touch the walls, like feeling for any like crevices or like notches or anything a bit dicey. That might be like a lever or a button. A little press, just work my way all the way around. Avoiding the sourdough.
A thorough examination of the rest of the room determines no secret buttons or levers. There is a way to open the door from this side. It's certainly not obvious.
Well,
notes that I've not asked anyone to make any dice rolls in this situation. That is because in Tales of Adventure system for tabletop, there is no such thing as a perception roll. If you describe searching in a way that would turn up the information you're looking for, you find it. No roll needed. If you examine the walls and there's something on the walls that you could find by examining them, you will find it. I don't believe in people missing clues because the dice don't like them. You can safely assume that there is nothing to find on the walls apart from what you found. The audience, however, are making a very strong suggestion that you should just hit the wall.
I suppose if it's sounded quite hollow, just knocking on it. Well, Marcus, Ruag, unless you've got any particularly clever ideas, I might try and smash it with a hammer.
I run up behind him and I go, smash it with the hammer.
I always find theory to be the best way. If you could dismantle it.
Hammer, smash it.
I mean, dismantling it. They, two sides of a coin. Smashing and dismantling. So I'm going to square.
I don't want to
try and hit it as cleanly as possible in the middle, and see if we
start counting you down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Can I thing up? I mean,
Everyone's gone quiet. Were you doing something that required my attention? I was sorry. I was rolling dice.
He's trying to smash the wall.
Oh yeah, okay. So it takes a few battered smashes, and it makes a lot of noise. But you're able to break open the stone panel pretty easily. That was not terrifically difficult. However, you've made a lot of noise in doing so, and rules sidebar: when you make noise in a dungeon, you stand a higher chance of generating a random encounter, and they've generated a random encounter. Dun, dun, dun. Suddenly, there's the sound of movement from the chamber door behind you. And as you turn, you can see the figure of a sheep.
They did say there would be a sheep. The tree did say this. Great. I love consistency.
Does the sheep look angry?
The sheep looks curious and slightly confused.
I go over to the sheep and pick it up like this.
The sheep seems strangely willing to be picked up.
I've got a sheep now.
There is a collar
Oh.
around your neck and a little tag that says Flossie.
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 I
Aw.
can't read, so I will call it my sheep.
Excellent. So, are you just going to carry? She's just going to carry that. Okay.
Be careful you don't eat it when the full moon comes, Runa. You must be careful.
Well,
I don't mean to offend. I just you know how it gets when you're a wolf. You get a bit bitey.
I find this kind of thing very rude and unnecessary.
I find this thing very, it's nice to just be extra careful.
It's worth clearing up at this point any misconceptions that the audience might have. Werewolves in this setting are not uncontrollable raging beasts the size of a man and with terrible claws and teeth and can only be slain by silver bullets, etc. None of that shit. If you're a werewolf in this setting, it means you are a normal human-ish person, except during the full moon, you can turn into a normal wolf.
Oh, is that?
You don't lose control of your senses or become a ravening, slavering beast hungry for human flesh. That is, to be honest, a horrible, unpleasant stereotype.
You know what, Runa? I am so grateful for you for telling me, because I appreciate that it must be difficult for you to have to be the person to explain it all the time. I'm sorry for that. If ever you want me to make you a flower, in a particular shape, I'll do it, and I promise I'll read all the literature I can about werewolves so that I can be more up to date. I'm ever so sorry.
I'm gonna nod. I'm gonna put the sheep around my neck. I wander off, being like, "What is she talking about? Make me a flower."
Meanwhile, Calmac, as the stone panel finally shatters to pieces beneath the blows of your mighty warhammer, you reveal in the flickering torchlight a narrow stone stairway descending downwards.
ooh. I take it we can't see very far down the stairs.
Torchlight extends about 6 meters, about 20 feet. This stone staircase, I'm very happy to tell you, is 30 foot long, so you can't see the end of it.
Well, all I'm going to point out is that you don't often put boring things behind the secret door.
It's
I
very
mean-
true.
It's probably like, if I had anything valuable,
I'm going to make a note because it'll be important later. Carry on.
if I had anything valuable, would I put it on the floor? No. Would I put it behind the secret door? Maybe.
It's a very good point. Yes. Shall we explore the secret door? We may as well.
We've come this far.
Particularly good musician. There seems to be a rather intriguing looking musical instrument that's on the floor. It's just,
That.
if anybody looks valuable, looks like lots of entertainment could be gained from.
It looks heavy, I say, carrying and going towards the stairs.
We don't want to draw any more attention to ourselves, really, do we?
Sure,
With loud noises and things.
We can get it on the way back. That's fine. Yes.
Maybe.
Descending down the stairs after traveling. Oh, actually, sorry, I've not actually at any point asked you a very crucial question in this type of dungeon crawling exploration. What is your order of march? Who's in the lead? Who's at the back? Who's in the middle?
Marcus, have you got any thoughts? Got any say in this?
Obviously, happy to be. If anybody's got any opinions, happy to be led by. Happy to take a vote.
Right.
I think that you should be at the front, Marcus, seeing as you're so strong and did so well against those zombies.
And you've got the banner, haven't you? You've got the flag.
Well, yes, of course, yes. Rather, yeah.
I think if we meet any danger, I'd feel a lot better knowing that you were the first person that it would come up against.
Yes, of course. Yes. Happy to do so. Yes, I will be at the front with the light. That's very good.
I think I'd be at the back because I get easily distracted by things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to. I'll follow Marcus. I'll be right behind you, mate.
And I will by default go behind Calmac.
So coincidentally, your order of march is the order in which you were introduced at the start of the episode.
Ah.
That's weirdly prescient on the part of the illustrator.
We're influenced.
Well, in any case, at the bottom of the staircase, Marcus, you emerge into a chamber, a stone chamber, again, finely crafted. And this time it seems to be a kitchenette. Maybe sometimes they do put boring things behind secret doors. It's not quite so boring as all that, however. This is no tidy and orderly kitchenette. The wooden table and stools are battered and overturned. Utensils and crockery made of copper are scattered everywhere across the floor, and there are suspicious brown stains on stone flagstones. To your right, a large archway opens onto another flight of stone steps, again leading down into darkness. Ahead and to the left of you, in the corner, there is a stove of stone with a metal hot plate on the top of it. A small chimney funnel runs into the ceiling and presumably emerges somewhere above on the surface, or perhaps has collapsed in the intervening hundreds of years. Ahead and to the right, a narrow doorway opens into a corridor through which you can just dimly see there are a series of doorways to the left. What are you doing?
So which direction was the stairs going down again?
To the right or the south?
Yeah, cool.
And there's a corridor to the left with doors in it.
Corridor ahead of you with doors to the in the corridor. I mean, I'll show you the bloody map. It's like this. I can't tell if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Pay attention to the other stuff that you haven't seen yet.
So, have we? Is there anything interesting or shiny within the kitchen area?
Oh, if there's, do you say there's like copper plates and accoutrement?
There are indeed copper plates and accoutrement in there. Good eye, Calmac. There are two main coinage in Pelvane and the surrounding lands. They are silver pieces and copper pieces. One copper piece, 10 copper pieces is worth one silver piece. Gold coins are very rare in Pelvane and the surrounding lands because they were the currency of the Elven Empire. And when the Elven capital sank, lots of gold went with it.
Well, you find that if you take a copper plate or a copper mug and melt it, you can make copper coins.
You absolutely can. If you spend 10 minutes or so gathering up all the crockery and bits and pieces on the floor, you can gather, Calmac, 100 copper pieces worth.
It's 10 silver. Oh, good haul,
Oh.
old boy.
Oh, well done, Calmac. That's great. What are you saving up for?
Well, I mean,
Don't you have a? Sorry.
Gonna need money to get forge set up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind making myself some better armor. I mean, Well, it depends how the business goes. I mean, this is a very good start for us. I mean, more money, more adventures. You know, it's one of those positive cycles, isn't it? We can take on better jobs if we've got better gear.
That's
Same.
great. I hope that if you ever go freelance and do your own, if you ever go and do your own forge business, that you stay adventuring.
Oh, well, yeah, you know, it's good to be out and about, isn't it? Good for your cardiovascular, to be, you know, get on your feet and walk. Great. So I take once we have looted all the copper, is that the most interesting thing of note in the room, apart from the...
Anything in any cupboards or anything like that?
Sorry?
Anything in any cupboards or anything?
No, there's no cupboard in the room. I would have described cupboards and shelves if there were cupboards and shelves.
So is the question, do we go ahead and have a look down this corridor, or do we go further down and go down the stairs?
A brief side note. Calmac, you're the first person to loot any actual treasure. You've looted 10 silver pieces, or 100 copper pieces, worth of copper utensils. That is in your treasure section of your character sheet, and it will be worth 10 experience points once you safely remove it from the dungeon. Removing it from the dungeon is the important bit, because until you make it to the surface with it, you haven't looted it, you've just picked it up. For example, if you die horribly in the dungeon and people leave it behind on your corpse, nobody earns experience for anything.
Don't worry, old boy, we won't leave it behind on your corpse.
What?
Is that reassuring?
Weird thing to say, but...
Sorry, sorry, yes. Sometimes my outside voice, I get them mixed up. Shall we carry on then?
So, deeper, or check out more kitchenette type rooms on this level?
I'd personally vote for seeing how far this rabbit hole goes.
Yes, me too.
Well then, sounds like we're carrying on deeper down the stairs. Marcus, would you do the honours and lead?
Well, of course, yes. If it's more kitchens, there's no problem at all.
So you're carrying on down the stairs, you say?
Yes. Carefully.
Splendid. Sorry?
Carefully.
Oh, carefully, okay. Well then, it's as you tread carefully on the third step down of the staircase that you feel it descend very slightly and hear a stony click sound. And then, with no warning apart from that, all of the stairs suddenly pivot smoothly to form a smooth stone ramp leading downwards into darkness. Make a dexterity save for me, please, Marcus.
Oh! 1.
A critical success.
Yes. Oh no. Well, it's my dexterity is 11, so
right.
I got a 1.
That is a success.
Yes.
Spectacular.
Whoa!
Somehow you're able to keep your balance as you smoothly slide down the staircase as though you were surfing.
Oh, excellent. That's exactly how I imagined it.
He's having
Hair,
a hell of
just
a first
fluffy
day on
hair,
the
just
job.
like blowing in the wind and rolling down like that.
Huh?
From the perspective, however, of Calmac, Rug, and Runa, it just looks as though you smoothly slide out of sight down to the bottom of the stairs.
Tally ho!
You eventually, Marcus, find yourself coming to a stop in an octagonal chamber. This one's slightly smaller than the octagonal chamber above. Your lantern light seems somehow to not extend as far in this chamber, and rather than banishing the shadows, the darkness seems to writhe and crawl away from your lantern. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
You are not yet across the threshold into the room. You're just at the bottom of the stone ramp that the staircase has become. What are you doing?
When I put the lantern further in, is the effect still happening, or can I
The effect does still happen. Are you putting the lantern across the threshold?
Yes.
I'm dropping some hints here.
That's what he does. Yeah.
Okay. As the lantern crosses the threshold, the darkness recoils even further, and you can now see the entire way across the room to where on the far side, a stone statue of an elven warrior holding a two-handed sword is surrounded by writhing shadows which seem to creep and pour up and over it until they seep down to the cracks and joins in its stony flesh, and with a crunching, scraping noise, it steps down off of its plinth and moves towards you. Meanwhile, upstairs,
I
Rug,
whistle.
Calmac, down the stairs, you can just faintly see that Marcus is on the threshold of another chamber and is whistling quite loudly.
Oh, shit! He's whistling.
I'm not quite sure if it's a happy whistle or whether it's a distress whistle. We never really clarified what it meant before. We probably should have had a system in place.
I just hear a whistle and I'm like, go, 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 go. So I'm kind of behind them trying to jostle them along.
Oh, should we go down the slope here?
Oh, sod it! And with a kind of whee, I'm gonna bum slide down with the torch and fighting hammer. Whee!
As soon as I hear that there's movement from behind me, I'm going to go out of the doorway, so that they don't all just slide into me.
This section of the stairway ends, and then there's a very small section of flat ground, which is only as wide as the staircase before you cross the threshold to the chamber. With three of them sliding down, I don't think you can avoid all of them.
Excellent.
I'm going to ask everybody, please, to make a dexterity save to see how many of you clash into each other and make a complete tumbling pile of chumps.
I got a
I've
4.
rolled a 10.
Got a 3.
I've got a 19.
Ah, splendid. That means the only person who is knocked prone is Marcus. Calmac, Rug, and Runa, sliding down the staircase stylishly, land perfectly, calmly balanced. But they do bowl poor Marcus over.
Oh, sorry.
And then,
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
flat on his back in chainmail armor and everybody else on their feet ready to fight, it's time to roll for initiative. Everyone make a wisdom test, please.
7. Success. Unless I'm at disadvantage because I'm
No.
20
like
again.
turtle style.
I got a 20 again.
Calmac?
12. Fail for me.
Oh dear.
11, so fail for me as well.
Good luck, Marcus. We're all counting on you.
So Marcus, despite the fact that you've just been bowled over and hit to the ground by a dwarf, a werewolf, and a wizard.
And a sheep.
Sorry?
And a sheep.
Oh god, yes, and a sheep. You find that you are the quickest to react. You're flat on your back, and the statue is approaching you with its stony greatsword held high. What are you doing?
Can I, even though I'm flat on my back, can I still try and style it out by rolling and standing up?
Yeah, all right. Make a charisma test.
Oh dear. 20.
About
You
time.
you get to your feet with a roll, but it's very awkward, and you spill some hot lamp oil on yourself.
Oh. I'll put the lamp down just to the side, raise my sword and shield, and Well, I suppose I'll go for the knees.
You'll go for the knees. Okay. This statue is by no means as easy to hurt as a zombie. It has a defense of 6, which means you are rolling your attack with a difficulty of 6. If you roll your attack of 11, you will succeed. But if you also roll under the difficulty of 6, it will be a partial success. Roll and tell me what you get.
17.
17. Well, that is just a plain miss.
Yerp.
Your sword scrapes across the stone of the statue's... It's not really flesh. The statue's body, let's say, and draws sparks, but little else.
Mm-hmm.
The statue, however, seems as though it's going to make no such concessions to your flesh as it swings its gigantic grain sword in a downwards arc towards you. Roll defense.
Fell off. 19.
A 19 is a miss. That means that you take the full damage from the stone sword. This is a two-handed weapon, which means it deals d10 damage. And it is also wielded by a 4 HD monster, so it deals +4 damage. I hope you are ready, because this is
gonna die.
I mean, maybe. Oh, you got lucky. So it's rolled a 4, +4 is 8. Reduced by your armor, that's 6 hit points of damage. You've got 2 left. 2 HP.
Oh dear Lord! This is not like the zombies!
Someone on the chat's just said Marcus was good while he lasted.
You fling yourself backwards in the nick of time, and the statue's sword describes the brutal arc just in front of your face and slams into the floor just in front of your lantern. If you'd been a couple of inches further, that would have split you open from chest to waist.
Oof. Just to confirm what happened, did I see like shadow creatures go in and kind of animate this?
When you put your lantern across the threshold, shadows fled across the room and animated the statue.
Right. Are they like little shadow creatures or just shadows?
Sort of like writhing, shadowy, wormy, like a mass of worms, maybe.
Oh, like cute little soot demons, like in a Studio Ghibli film.
No.
Great.
Oh. Okay. Yes.
I'm getting pointed reminders from the Twitch chat that I should be saying heroic poise, not hit points, which is very true. HP stands for heroic poise.
Okay.
Rug. This statue has stepped forwards and very nearly cut Marcus in half. What you doing?
Oh gosh, I'm panicking mostly, but I'm going to try and.
You're holding a torch.
I've got my grand staff, and I've got my torch.
Right.
Yes, I've got my torch and I've got my grand staff. But I have to only hold the grand staff with one hand with the torch. Very dark down here. I'm going to give it a go at attacking the statue as well with the staff. I'm just going to give it a go. I'm just going to
roll
go.
your attack. There is a difficulty of 6 on this attack.
Okay, right.
Okay.
4. So that's
a 4. That's under your attack stat, but it's also under the opponent's defense, which means is a partial or costlier success. Your blow was either narrowly avoided or foiled by the target's armor. You deal minimum damage for your weapon, which in the case of your staff is 1.
Okay.
Your wooden staff wraps off of the statue's stony forehead, and you swear that a small chip of stone flies off, but that doesn't make you feel too much better. Rúna, Calmac.
I'm actually gonna reach into my pack and take out my grappling hook and rope, because where I come from, you can't fight stones. You tend to climb them.
That's very true. You can't fight stone, and climbing it is a much more traditional approach, yes.
So that I think that'll take my turn, right? To reach into my bag and get that stuff ready.
It will, yes, because your grappling hook and your rope are not in your first 3 inventory slots, which are easy to access. Calmac.
Right, I'm gonna move forwards and with the old fighting hammer, I'm aiming for the statue, because the statue is kind of all made out of stone.
Yeah,
right?
it's all...
Including the sword.
Yes.
So I'm kind of aiming for like the base, the very hilt of the sword where he's holding it, in the hoping of smashing his weapon up. Because if it's just stone, you can maybe crack it off. Then he's just left holding the little endy bit, and it'll look like an absolute prune.
Sweet. That sounds like a combat maneuver to me. Combat maneuvers are any fancy stuff in combat that doesn't basically resolve down to I'll try and hurt him with my weapon. It works like this. You need to make an attack roll, which is opposed by a difficulty of his attack. So you're looking for an attack roll with difficulty 4. If you pass, that doesn't mean that you've hit him, but it means that he hasn't hit you as you try your complicated maneuver.
It was a 15.
That's a miss.
Do I get it twice?
Huh? Oh, you can have. You'll still succeed in your combat maneuver. It just means that he gets you while you're going in for the fancy bit. Roll your Warhammer damage, and in the meantime, he has hit you with his mighty stone sword.
Well, I got a 5, so balls to him.
Oh shit. He deals 13 damage to you. Would you one of your fighter abilities?
Yeah, well, I think I might actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and parry that. Yeah.
As a first level fighter, once per day, Calmac can parry a blow and reduce its damage by 1d12. Tell me what you get.
Oh.
3.
3.
Okay, that's much less bad. You only take 10 damage.
What's
Your heroic poise is down to 2, but as his sword slams into your chest and your hammer slams into it, there's an almighty crack that rings around the chamber, and you're not really sure if it was the sword or your ribs. But at the end of your turn, you're across the other side of the room, and the statue's stone sword is in pieces on the floor.
I kind of wheeze, cough like, yeah, you look like a prune now.
Marcus, it's your turn. The statue's turned its attention to Calmac, who, are you still holding on to your torch, Calmac?
I don't know whether I would. I feel like I would have dropped it in the being smashed across the room.
Okie doke.
I feel to be.
And is so the rest of this room, what's where the statue was? Is there anything else there?
So where the statue was is now an empty plinth. Elsewhere in the room, to the east and to the west, there are archways with wooden doors in them.
Right. Okay. And is the sword smashed, or is it just on the floor now?
The sword is smashed to pieces on the floor. Can't you see the illustration?
Great. Cool. So, I can see the illustration. Okay, so I'm going to kind of like scooch around so that I'm to the back of it, and everybody else is sort of around that area, and then I'm going to try and continue to hit it, because that's what heroes do. Like, that's what people who, yes, even though that did hurt me and I didn't like it that much. But the LaVelle family are known for their strength and valor, so I'm going to do that.
Their strength and valor in attacking unarmed foes from behind.
Yeah, well, you got to start somewhere, and and a knight isn't normally a I've got to build myself up.
Right. You don't have to morally justify yourself to me. You can get advantage for attacking it from the back.
Oh, good. Let's do that.
It's easy enough to maneuver around behind this thing. It's not very smart.
I got a 10.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 10s.
Okay, either one of those is a hit.
Roll take the first one. 5.
5. Ooh, that's a mighty blow.
Smash. Again, aim for the knee.
Huh?
I'm going to aim for the knees.
Oh, I see. Your sword rings like a bell as it strikes in the back of the statue's stone knee. And you swear you can see a fine hairline crack extend up the thing's leg. That blow hurt it. However, now it's the statue's turn. It reels round and fixes its stony gaze upon the only member of the party who's still holding a light source, Rug. It advances on you and, with its sword shattered to pieces, swings a stony fist right at your face. Roll your defense, please.
Hang on. Got to unlock my phone. I've got pop-ups on my phone.
You've got pop-up ads.
I've got pop-up ads. And then it went. Okay, right. Here we go. 15.
Oh,
My defense is 12, I think, with my staff.
yeah, when you're wielding your staff, your defense is 12. 15 means that it has hit you. It's no longer wielding a mighty stone sword, but it does have a pretty nasty stone fist. This is going to be 1d6 plus 4 damage. For those interested, Rug currently has 6 HP.
Yeah.
Need a wop.
Rug, you've taken 9 damage.
Oh my god!
This
Can I use one of my skills as like a reaction or something?
What skill would you be referring to here?
Like challenge.
So the important thing about challenge is it lets you challenge people who understand and are capable of comprehending you.
Oh.
This is a statue, and it can't comprehend or understand you. Rug, you take 9 damage.
9 damage.
Your HP is reduced to 0. That's your heroic poise. You've got none left now. And because there's leftover damage, that means that you are going to take lethal damage. You've taken 3 lethal damage, which means I need to ask you to make a roll on the injury table.
Injury table. Is that still a 20? Yeah.
No. Can you roll first a d6 to decide where it hit you?
Okay. It hit me number 4.
4 is the torso, and then
Okay.
roll a d12 and add 3 because that's how much the lethal damage was.
Okay. 9 add 3. So 12.
12. Okay.
Oh my.
So that means that the results of 11 or more on the torso section of the injury table means that your torso is crushed. And you take 1 fatal wound. First of all, let's resolve having a crushed torso.
On is presumably all it takes, right? If it's a fatal wound.
There's more to it than that. We'll deal with that in a second. First of all, could you make a luck roll, please?
Yeah, good shout. Okay.
I mean, she's already seeming pretty unlucky.
It's not going well. 2. So my luck is 9.
Okay, so that's a success.
Yes. Yay.
Okay, so your crushed torso has no further effect on you other than an interesting scar, which we'll deal with later. You also have 1 fatal wound. If you have any fatal wounds, that means that you are effectively unconscious. That doesn't mean like knocked out and sleeping. It means that you can't do anything useful in the fight. You could be, for example, moaning in pain, clutching your wounds, going, ow, fuck, that really hurts. But you can't do anything constructive. You also have
above.
3 rounds to get rid of your fatal wounds or you're dead.
What a good start. Okay.
How do you get rid of them?
It's your turn now.
Gardening school, did they?
Oh, God.
It's your turn now. And you can, if you like, make a constitution test to try and remove a fatal wound.
I'll give that a go. Yeah. Okay.
Take the fist of the statue straight to the chest and is knocked to the ground with a sickening, crunching thud. The torch drops to the ground and goes out, and her staff clatters to the floor as well. Give me that constitution check.
All right. 16. My constitution is 10.
So that is a fail. You still have 1 fatal wound.
Oh.
And you've had it for 1 round now. 2 more rounds left. Rúna, Calmac. Rug's pretty badly hurt.
I'm going, oh no, whoa, oh boy. But I've got my grappling hook and I'm getting behind it, probably while it's just dropped Rug, and I'm going to swing the grappling hook and throw it so it catches the giant around between the neck and the head in this sort of collarbone area, and I'm going to try and give it an almighty tug so that I can pull it down onto its back, like that.
Okay, that sounds like a strength test to me.
Certainly
You're going
does.
to need to roll your strength, and I'm going to ask you to roll it against a difficulty of 4, because this thing is pretty strong.
I got a 9.
Nice.
That is a success. The statue falls over onto its back, pulled by Rúna's grappling hook with an almighty crash. And it takes 5 more damage as it thunders to the ground. I don't mind telling you that this has 4 HP left. It's cracked and mazed all over with small fissures in its stony flesh. It's
Are any of the lights still on?
all of the light sources are on. Well, sorry, the lantern that Marcus put to the floor is on, but the torch that Calmac hit is off. It went out when he dropped it.
If the lights activated it, is it worth snuffing out the lights to see if that shut it up?
That is a very clever
probably
question.
at the start of the fight.
I'm not going to tell you.
It only just occurred to me, so there.
It's a very smart question to ask. I'm not going to tell you until you've tried it, and you've just used your turn up doing the cool pull the statue over maneuver. Calmac.
No regrets.
No, I mean, why have no regret?
Seeing the statue and start to kind of crack it, I'm gonna have loft my fighting hammer over my head and, like an axeman chopping wood on a block, just try and sunder it, kind of go right in the right in the sweet bits.
So you're just going to try and smash the thing to pieces. That sounds like an attack to me. You get 2 attacks per round. Being a fighter, roll your attack twice.
14 and a 20.
That's 2 misses. You rain hammer blows down on the stony. But
Any advantage because he's on the ground?
actually, you're right. Go on, roll twice more.
17.
Come on, Tom.
And a 19.
Oh.
The chamber rings with the sound of metal on stone as Calmac rains a furious hail of hammer blows onto the statue, but to little avail. Marcus, it's back to you. Rug is badly wounded, and the statue is downed but not out. It's struggling to rise to its feet.
Don't let it get up.
I'm gonna try and out the statue then. In that case,
Okay, make an attack roll with advantage.
that's a 20,
Oh. Whoops.
and that's a 2. Oh no!
That's a partial success. You deal
Okay.
minimum damage, which is only 1 damage.
Okay.
Again, chips of stone fly from the statue's stony face, but it's not enough to put it out. With a grinding, rumbling noise, the statue rises to its feet, slowly turns about, and raises one fist high and brings it down with a shattering impact onto Marcus's lantern that he left onto the floor.
Ah.
No, Larry.
Oh.
Darkness and silence falls. Rug,
All right.
could you make a Constitution save because you've still got fatal wounds?
Fingers crossed. This one was a 17.
That's still a fail.
Yes.
Round where you've not managed to clear your fatal wounds. Rug is struggling and wheezing to breathe against
Ruggling.
the pressure of her crushed chest.
Ruggling.
Can't
Ruggling.
struggle without Rug.
Runa, Calmac, the chamber is in pitched darkness, but you can clearly hear the struggle of Rug trying to breathe in the corner.
How does one remove fatal wounds?
You may attempt to offer first aid to Rug by rolling under your intelligence.
Okay, I feel in the sudden everything goes very quiet all of a sudden and just so I'm going to try and feel my way over to Rug and try and feel like just stemmed and bleeding, just give me a little, clear the airways, roll on her sides, all of that.
Careful with that. I wouldn't move her.
I hope you. Thank you for helping, Calmac. Are you first
It's an
aid
11.
trained?
It's an 11, so
That is a
yes.
success. You managed to clear Rug's fatal wound. She is no longer in danger of death.
She had a bit of stone
Telling me.
dislodged, and I just clear the airway.
This woman had several broken ribs, and you fixed her by rolling her over. That is
Needed it.
remarkable.
Come on!
Let's
Walk it off.
be clear. She didn't have broken ribs. Broken ribs are a separate entry on the table.
Oh, she just had a crushed torso.
Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm completely wrong. She did have broken ribs.
Thank you.
And that was healed by Calmax rolling
No.
about.
Healed.
No. It wasn't healed. You still have cracked ribs and a crushed torso. You just don't have a fatal wound anymore.
Okay, so I'm still in a lot of pain, and it's still not very nice. But I can walk. Can I
Look,
walk?
Yeah, you could probably walk.
Okay.
Could she ride a
Thank
sheep?
you.
No, she's a human. She's a full-grown adult human. Calmac.
Excuse me, didn't stop Odysseus.
If you think that you are a mythic legendary figure, then let me correct you.
Yeah, but he
Odysseus wouldn't have gone down to one.
He rode under a sheep to escape from the Cyclops. He didn't manage that because he's a hero.
All right, it's your turn, Runa. What are you doing apart from lecturing me on myth?
I'm trying to figure this out. So I think if we light another lamp, that thing will come back to life. But I think if we leave it in the dark and we move on, it's not going to follow us. I think that was a booby trap rather than some kind of, it was like a magical enchantment sentinel thing. So I think the objective is not to light a lamp and finish it off because it could come back with full strength. I think we should just get the fuck out of here. And I'll tell everyone, I think we should just get the fuck out of here.
Well, there's
I wasn't allowed to swear at home, so I'm not really doing it right.
There's 2 doors, and behind you, you can hear a grinding noise, and you suspect that it's probably the stairs popping back out into stairs.
Well,
the thing is, if we've come up against a big scary sentinel, that probably means we're close to something good. Whereas if we go back, we'll just have to get through other mid-level guard things. So maybe we should just keep going unless Rug is about to die.
Well, how are you feeling, Ruag? Ruge? Ragu?
I'd really prefer if you used my chosen name, Ruge.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
What's that? That wasn't even one of the options earlier. Not even one of them.
Last time.
But I'm feeling like I might not die. But so I can walk. I'd love a bit of holding. Maybe someone could sort of hold my arm.
Well, yes, of course. That's a very knightly thing to do. So I'm quite happy to do that as long as Where are you?
Can I give my sheep to Marcus and go and pick up Rug?
Yeah, you can try. Are you deciding to press on further into the dungeon, or are you deciding to retreat to the surface for now?
I mean, I'm quite happy to take a vote.
I mean, maybe part of me does think should we see to Rug in the light.
Point taken.
As much as that. But I'm also going to point out, if we're gonna kind of feel around and maybe recover our torches without lighting them, in the process, do we notice or feel or kind of accidentally stumble across the statue still on the floor?
The statue is still on the floor, yeah.
Well, if everyone stands back, just make sure kind of like sound out so we know where you all are. Let's just smash it up in the dark.
That you can do. It's the matter of maybe 10 minutes or so properly smashing the thing, but eventually you reduce it to nothing more than fist-sized chunks of stone and gravel. You're safely able to light torches now, and you are able to retreat to the surface, just about managing to support Rug between the 3 of you. As you emerge, scrambling up the loose soil sides of the pit that you descended down, you emerge into bright sunlight once again, and you can see Rupert the horse and the few bits of baggage that you left up here on the surface. You can also, however, see 2 human figures in leather armor aiming short bows at you as you emerge from the hole. Who are these strange humans that have appeared out of nowhere to hold our heroes at bow point? What is going to happen to Rug with her crushed chest if we get into another fight now? Is Rupert the horse about to be stolen? All these questions more and answered in the next Tales of Adventure!